Hi everyone. We're getting towards the end of June, and I am doing another readathon, Battle of the Bands with Bookish Drummer. This time it's movie soundtracks. There are 4 teams. I think action, comedy, musicals, or dance, and I should remember what the other one is. Dance. What was the other one? Oh no. Oh, animated, obviously. So I obviously since the beginning of May, and I know I talked about this in my wrap up. I've definitely slowed things down a lot. So I'm still trying to wrap up some books that I had on my TBR for May. I read a couple things for my TBR for June, but very, very slow in June. But this is nice because the readathons tend to get me very competitive, and it gets me in the mindset of I got to make sure I read all my books because I want to get the points. So this is my TBR, and hopefully in July it'll give me a chance to really get back on track with my reading, and also try to catch up. And then in August, whatever is still hanging around from May and June, hopefully I can get to. And who knows, maybe I'll end up swapping something in or out based on mood. But this is, as of now, this is my TBR for the readathon, and I would say it's my July TBR because it's 20 books. There is an option to read more, and I signed up to do it. So if I'm able to, after I finish 20, I can read up to 5 more. That will just depend on if I can feasibly do that. So July tends to be a little bit quieter. It's quieter at work, and it's just a lot more downtime. It's summer. I don't like to go out as much because it's so hot. So hopefully I will definitely be able to at least do the 20 for sure, but then, hopefully even get those extra 5 in. And that's probably where I can pop in some of the ones I'm behind on. But anyway, so here we go. So the first team is action. And so there's 5 books. Danger Zone, which is the song from Top Gun. But this is a book that includes flight or dragons, planes, space, or any kind of flight. So dragons, planes, spaceships, whatever. Number 2 is Mission Impossible. Well, obviously Mission Impossible. A book in a long or ongoing series. 3 is You're the Best. So that's from Karate Kid. You're the best around. A book by a highly regarded author, or a book with a high average Goodreads rating. 4 is Eye of the Tiger, which is from one of the Rockies, Rocky 3, I think. I love that song. It's my go-to, get in a good mood and get motivated song. A book featuring an underdog or a character facing seemingly insurmountable odds. And then 5 is Princes of the Universe. I guess that must be from Highlander. I haven't seen that. So there could be only one. Read a standalone. So the books I picked, for the flying one, I picked Falling, which I have had on my TBR, on my Kindle forever. So, and this is basically, I think, just a really fast-paced book, I think, according to what, the summary is, about people who are trapped on a plane that is falling and crashing. So, sounds really cool, and definitely, has to do with flying, but also, I'm terrified of flying, so this will probably not, help me with that. But it sounds like it'll be a really fast read because it's, I think it's real time. So, for the ongoing series, very long series, I'm going with a Hercule Poirot book, and it is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which is one of the Agatha Christie books. I hear is amazing. I have not read these in any order. I think I've only read one Hercule book, which is Murder on the Orient Express, the big one. I saw The Murder in Venice, and I have Halloween Party, which it's based on. I haven't gotten to it. I have a bunch of his books, but the books with him in it. I read the ABC Murders, and I played that video game, but so this is the one I hear is very, very good. So obviously Agatha Christie has a billion books, and Hercule Poirot is the biggest character for her, and I'm just really excited because I hear this one is fantastic. So it'd be nice to get into an old classic mystery. For a book with a really high rating on Goodreads, I have the 4th Thursday Murder Club mystery, which is The Last Devil to Die. I'm very excited to read this. I've been, I got it for Christmas, and I've been wanting to read it, and so this works out perfectly. And by the way, if you haven't heard, they announced the cast, the main cast, and they announced some other actors who are going to be in it. like David Tennant, for instance, although they didn't say who he will be playing. So I'm pretty excited. Chris Columbus is directing it, and he did like the first Harry Potter movies. And what I like about, he did also like, I think, Home Alone, but what I like about his style is, like you saw with Harry Potter, I think he does a very good job of adaptations, because he's very faithful to the source material. And a lot of filmmakers seem to be like, I can do what I want and I'll take creative license, and it's hard when you really love a book. So I don't know if it's going to be a movie or a series, because I heard like Netflix is involved, so I think it would make a great series, but we'll see. For a book that has an underdog, or like somebody who's overcoming a lot of obstacles, I think I'm going to try to read Kite Runner, because this has been a book that I've been trying to read for decades. And I think it's supposed to be really good, and so obviously I think he goes through a lot of horrible things. And then for a book that is a standalone, I just picked this All Her Fault book that has been on my Kindle for ages, and so I was like, I'm just going to pick a random book that's been sitting on my Kindle. So that's that. And so the next theme is animated. So we have You've Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story. So read one of the Discord group reads, because this is, Bookish Drummer has a Discord, and so the Readathon and everything goes on through the Discord. Hakuna Matata, which is a book with a laid-back character, obviously from Lion King. You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, Christmas in July, a book set during Christmas time. All-Star, a book that has won some kind of award, and that's obviously Smash Mouth from Shrek. And then Sunflower, which is apparently Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse or whatever, and a book with a plant on the cover. So for my Discord group read, I'm very excited, because we already had planned for July to read Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I have it. I got it on the day it came out. I'm just sitting waiting to read it. I cannot wait to read this, so probably the first thing I'll read. For a laid-back character, I picked Brideshead Revisited, because I've been like really into like dark academia lately, and I don't know if it's dark, but still kind of that type of book. And I haven't read this, and so I think it's probably going to be right up my alley, so that's going to be something I'm going to read. And then I meant to read this last year around Christmas, and then it got like pushed under a pile of books, and I never got back to it. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I have Young Scrooge, which is like a horror, creepy, middle grade retelling of Christmas Carol by R.L. Stine, so I'm like, perfect. And I think we have to have like a minimum of 150 pages, and I think it's just over that, but this will be fun, it'll be quick. And then for, it was a book that won some kind of award, I went with Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I had started this a while ago, like a couple years ago, and then for some reason I just, like, other things came up. I think I borrowed it from the library at the time, and it was due back, and then I ended up like buying it during like one of the Kindle sales, and so I've had it, and I've been waiting to get back to it. And I had read Beartown, the last readathon, and I really liked that, and his writing style is interesting, and this sounds funny, so and then a book with a plant on the cover, I'm reading Her Little Flowers, which is like a gothic thriller kind of book. So those are the first two teams, action and animated. I was gonna be on action, but it was the team captain for action was Niko, and when I did the first readathon that I did with the Bookish Drummer, he was my captain, so I was like, I should go with someone else. So I was torn between animated, which is Ian, and the team I'm on, which is comedy, which is Jake. And I ended up just going with comedy, just because I thought the prompts were a little like easier for me to pick. So I mean, I'm probably gonna read all of them anyway, but so next time I do a readathon, if Ian is the captain, he will be my he will be the team I'm picking. So for comedy, we have Ghostbusters, a book with suspected or confirmed paranormal activity. Canned Heat, which is a last-minute addition to your TBR, and I'll explain what I picked for that. And then The Power of Love, so it was obviously Ghostbusters, and then Napoleon Dynamite, Back to the Future is Power of Love, a book featuring unlikely friends. Always Look on the Bright Side of Life from Life of Brian and Monty Python. It's also from Spamalot if you like musical theater. A book with a funny or ironic title, and Scotty Doesn't Know from Eurotrip, a book that involves deception of any kind. So for my confirmed or suspected paranormal activity, I picked Boys in the Valley. I don't know anything about this except everyone seems to really, really like it. So I was like, and it's like a horror novel, so I think it's like kind of Lord of the Flies-esque. So we'll see. And I think there's like paranormal elements. According to Goodreads, it's paranormal. So for the book that is a last minute addition to my TBR, I mean, I could really just grab anything that I was just, wasn't on my TBR for the month. But what I did was I picked one of the last books I had added to my TBR, and this is Hotel Lucky 7, which is by the writer who did Bullet Train, which I haven't read, but I mean, the movie was fantastic, super funny and weird. So I'm excited to read this. I have the arc for this. And then for Unlikely Friends, I picked Burnham Wood. I've wanted to read this for a while, and it sounds like it's about like some people who team up and, seem like a weird match. And then for a funny title, I picked How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. I have the arc for this, and I've wanted to read it, so now I get to. And then the last one is a book involving deception. This is Ethan Hawke's book, A Bright Ray of Darkness, which I had asked for Christmas, and I got it. And so I really like Ethan Hawke's writing. And yes, it is the same Ethan Hawke. But I really have liked his books in the past. So, and this, I think, deals with, it's kind of semi-autobiographical. It's about an actor who is like having an affair. And so obviously some deception there. So that's my team. And those are the books for comedy. And again, they don't have to be comedies. They just have to tie into the prompt. And then Dance, You're the One That I Want from Greece, is a book with a special edition you want. And it doesn't have to be a book you've read. It just has to be a book that has a nice special edition that you might want if you like the book. I've had the time of my life from Dirty Dancing, so reread an old favorite, Footloose, from Footloose, a book that's been banned. And thanks to the, especially Florida and like Texas, everything's been banned now. So you can really pick anything for that prompt. Staying Alive from Saturday Night Fever, a book by an author with a V or G initial for the VGs. And A Million Dreams, which is from The Greatest Showman, a book with an inspirational character or story. So for the special edition, I'm going to try to read Shadow of the Wind. This is one of my friend's like absolute favorite books of all time, which, she reads very, very widely. And so I kind of I've had this waiting to read it forever because, she tends to read a lot of different stuff, and usually I like a lot of her recommendations. So I've been like, I've got to get to that. So that's my plan, because there's a really nice edition. I think Folio Society has a really nice one. So I don't have that edition, but they have a really nice one. And then for an old favorite, we're actually in the Ray Bradbury Book Club. This month's book is Fahrenheit 451, which I love. So I'm just going to reread that for kind of hit 2 points, read it for the book club and read it for this. And then for a book that's been banned, I'm actually going to try a Stephen King book, because I haven't read Stephen King in a while. And so The Dead Zone is on there, and Sir Chong has all the Stephen King books. So I'd like to maybe read another one. I haven't read one in years. So that's on there. And then for, I forgot what the next one was. A book by an author with a B or a G initial. I picked, I have The Ark for the Husbands by Holly Gramazio. So that's a G. And then for an inspirational character, I'm going to finally read The Maid, because I think it's about, I think she overcomes a lot of stuff as a maid. So I'm going to read that. And yeah, so those are comedy and dance. And so those are my 20 books. And like I said, I haven't really picked my 5 extras if I can get to them. I'll just kind of figure out what I'm in the mood for after reading these 20. But, some of them are short. Some seem like they'll be pretty fast-paced. Stephen King reads slow, but it is like a shorter one of his. Some of these are arcs that I'm like super far behind on. So, and then I know like the R.L. Stein. I know Fahrenheit is a relatively short read. Plus I read it before. So Riley Sager, I'm sure I'll fly through that. I'll fly through the Thursday Murder Club. So I think a good mix, because I think there's some that, I'll probably read in a day. And then there's some that might take me a little longer. Like Shadow of the Wind is probably a little like slower read, but I think you'll like it. So I think this is probably where I'm going to go, and, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so hopefully, when we come back in June, Sir Chong's been kind of starting to pick up his reading again now that school's out. So, we will probably do like I'll do a June wrap up and he'll do sort of like a March through June wrap up. And neither of us have read a ton this month, so I've been kind of slacking. I mean, like I said, some health stuff, and then also like Love Island is back, and so I've been watching that, and I was watching Perfect Match, and I'm a sucker for bad reality TV shows, and there's a lot of them right now, so yeah. And then I don't know what else I've been doing. I think I've been like spending a lot of time on eBay because I'm trying to do my like Christmas shopping, get a head start, and then I get into this like I got to get it all now, and even though it's like June, so that's where I'm at. So anyway, that's my readathon plan, and let me know if you've read any of this stuff, if you have any thoughts, if you like things, didn't like things, anything you might recommend for a prompt, as like a backup plan if like something doesn't go well. Yeah, and I will see you in a bit. Bye.